Yes, sir. Actually, just want to see. Well, yeah. So yesterday we started with looking at lists, but we didn't actually have a lot of time to look at other things that I think are important to go over. Oh yeah, this is the intro. Yeah, this is the introduction for that. I think I'm gonna close that off. Okay, now, so yesterday, I'll just open this so that we can have some recap. So yeah, yesterday we started looking at our lists, and then we looked at indexing. I think we touched on slicing over here. So if you understand string slicing, you understand list slicing. The only difference is so with your string, when you slice, you are slicing the characters in your string. But for a list, when you slice, you are slicing the entries within your list. Like your first entry in your list would be Apple, which is the whole thing. So you don't get, it's not A of the first one, but the whole thing is it's for your index 0 and Kiwi index 1, index 2, and then index 3. So for strings, you are referencing the characters in your string, but for your list, you are referencing the entries within your list. So there are. I'm just gonna create a new methods file there that we are gonna start looking at. So like strings are. Let me just copy one of them. So I'm just gonna copy these two. I think the rest. So, like we looked at the lower method and the upper method on our strings. Also, we also looked at the capitalized method. So, like I mentioned before, each data type has some methods on them. So they are different depending on what data type you're looking at. So now if I just go, as you can see, there are a couple of methods that we have on our list. So we'll go through a couple of them. You feel free to go through the others when you have time or outside of class. But I will go through the append, the pop, and the reverse method. But we'll also look at other things that we can do. Come on now. On our strings. Actually, before we look at methods, let's look at something else. So we spoke about when we worked with our strings. I'm just gonna go name here. I'm just gonna make that Mike. So we spoke about how strings are actually immutable, meaning I cannot do something like that, right? Because, or even something like that, because you cannot change your string after you have created it. So you have to be, if you wanted to change the value of name using the previous value of name, your Mike, you'd have to be creative in how you get that done. But using our numbers, we actually, our lists rather, you can actually do something like that, right? And then I can print it here. I'll print it just before. I'll print my numbers here, and then I'll print it again. So before I make the change, right? So where are my lists? And then we're looking at methods. You see that? So the before line 5, we have the original representation of our list, which is 1 to 8, and then I changed the first entry in our list, and then I gave that the value 50. And then after that, looking at the new value of our numbers, we get 50 at position 0. So you see that. So you can actually change the entries of your the entries of your list. So you can make that there 9. So we have 50 there, we have 9 there. So what happens when I do that? Let's see what happens when I do that. Boom. So it's telling me index out of range, because there's you don't have index number 100 on in your list, right? So what about 8? What happens when I do 8? Same thing. So I can actually only replace what's already in my string with this kind of method, right? But let's say you wanted to add something to your string, right? So there's actually a way to do it, not to your string, sorry, to your list. There's actually a way to do it. So using a method on it, I think it will make sense. So the name of the method is called append. So what it does, it adds on to what you have in your list. So it adds to the end of the list. So if I go append 7, actually let me append 9. Let me append 9. So actually I'm going to remove this 9 over here. So we append 9. Then let's print it after we have appended 9. Boom. So we have, before we appended 9, we have those numbers there. But then now we have one extra item there. So as you can see, these ones that are here are actually the same as what we had before, but now with an extra element there, being 9. So what happens if I do that again, right? So it'll actually add 2 9s, because I'm saying append. I'm doing append twice. So it'll add 9 the first time and then 9 the second time, and then so now that means you have 2 extra entries. That's how you add. That's how you add entries to your list. If you have questions, just shout. Yeah, and then there's another method that we have on our lists, which is a pop. So if you can guess what that is, it's actually kind of the opposite of append, but it's kind of different in some cases. So now, if I was to do the method pop, sorry. So what it does, it removes the last element in our list. So we'll see now. So we added 9 twice there, right? And then we'll see there, and then we pop something from the list. So let's see what the result of that is. So we had, if looking at this, we had 899, right? But after we ran the pop, we have just 89. So what this does, it removes the last element from your list, right? If you run it this way. So there's more than one way to run your pop method. So this is the default way. So if you run it without giving it anything, it'll pop the last element. But if you give it something here, but you have to give it a number. So if I give it a 1, what this is saying from my list, remove the number in position 1, or remove the entry in position 1. So what's in position 1 here? We have actually no, that's 2. We have a 2, right? So we have 2 in position 1. So if I pop 1 there instead of popping it without anything. So you see the 2 is gone. Now you have 50, 2, 4. We still have our 2 9s because we did not pop it from the back. We popped the we popped the first entry. So what happens if I do that? What's going to happen? I pop 1 twice.
It will remove 3.
Yeah, so it'll, for the first time, it'll remove 2, and then what happens is 3. So since you removed 2, the size of the list has shrunk, right? And so from 3 will now move into position 1. 4 will now move into position 2. 5 will now move into position 3, so on and so forth. So that means if I pop 1 twice, so I'll remove 3 and 4. 2 and 3, because they shift from right to left when you remove something. So all entries from the right of what you popped will change position by 1. So like by -1. So and then they will go, like from 9 will go to 8, and then 8 will go to 7, so on and so forth. Cool. There's other methods. Let's see how we do. Okay, there's another method on our list, which is called sort. So sort does, I think this should explain itself, I think. So it sorts the list for you. So now after running the sort, I didn't change the pops that we did. So when you run the sort method, it actually changes your list permanently, right? So whatever the arrangement of your list was before, it will be changed. After you run the sort method on your numbers, it will be changed. It doesn't give you a new set of numbers that you can use. It changes the list altogether. So it mutates the list when you run your sort method on it. So now that's why I ran it here. And then when I print numbers, you can see 50 moved to the back. You see that? So 50 moved to the back, and yeah. We good? So maybe I think these are not that complicated. So I'm just gonna try move fast, and if you feel like I'm moving too fast, just stop me. So now we're just gonna go through.
Level.
Yo, whew, that was loud, bro. God damn. Yeah, what's up?
Is it possible? Is it possible? You need to reduce your volume. Is it possible that you could sort of do those methods in like one line? Sort of maybe you pop 1, after popping 1 immediately you sort out something,
What do
or
you
you
mean?
append in.
So you mean sort, and then after sort, and then I run another method on there, like
Yeah.
append.
Yeah. Mm.
So in this case, no, you cannot. For this one, you can't. But there are some things that you can. They call it not. It's not nesting. Is it nesting? I don't think it's nesting, man. What is it called? Chaining. There we go. So you can chain methods. So you could chain your pop, and I'm not saying you can for this one, but there are things, if they are not there here, we can actually write things ourselves, right? That we can do that for. So in the future, when we start creating our own objects, you can have methods that do that. So we can look at that if you want, and then
Okay, no, it's fine.
so we can look at chaining, so that you can give your object the ability to chain methods when it can.
Okay, it's fine. As long as you say we will do it, it's fine.
What are you saying, Kree?
Okay, so the pop method removes. We could apply like the same kind of way of applying it. Can we use it to like remove a range of items in the list?
Oh, you want to move a range of items in a list?
That's the first question.
Okay.
And the second one is, my assumption is that the sort function creates some kind of order in like ascending order. That's what's happening here with the numbers, because we have a list of integers, isn't it?
So repeat that.
So when you did on line 13 the sort method, right?
Yeah.
The result of that was 50 is now the last entry in the list.
Mm.
Does that mean that that sort method orders these um, entries in an ascending kind of order?
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. So yeah, it does that. There's we'll look at other ways to sort. Your sort can actually take you can make it sort in reverse. So
Okay. So in this particular situation, is because they were all numbers and they could be sorted, and the default would be to sort in ascending order. What happens if your list items are of different kinds?
oh, I see what you're saying. So you have a number and numbers and strings inside one list, and you want to sort that.
Yeah.
So the computer has order to it, right? So in how it looks at so we can actually try it, right? Let's see. So we can have a mixed, there is some kind of ordering in the on the OS, on the operating system. So I'll go A B 1 50 40 whatever 50 here, right? So let's see what happens when we sort our mixed sort, and then we want to see what mix looks like. What happened? What did I do? Supported. I didn't actually sort it. Sort supported between indices of int and strings. Oh, yo, can you mute a bit there, Chris?
Try on strings alone.
Sorry? No,
Try
on
on
strings
strings
alone,
alone. Try
it'll
on
work.
strings.
It'll work. There's what's let me I'll find this. I don't know why this didn't work. Yeah, I understand why it's not working though. For some reason it cannot compare an integer to a string underneath. But I'll show it to you this way. If they were both strings, they were all strings rather, there's still, so you see that, so it's taking numbers as being less than alphabets. You see that, Cree? So yeah, so there's some kind of order in terms of the characters in the system. So in this case, it seems like A is greater than, alphabets are greater than numbers from what I can see. So that's how, yeah.
And what I can see, it seems like it registers the first character within a string.
Yes. So like if I was to have like 11 here, right? So you see that. So actually that's not a good example. Let's change this from 4. Let's see. You see that. So 11 is greater than, I mean 4 is still greater than 11 because it's going to compare the first characters and it's like, oh, 1 and 1, okay, and then this actually, so 4 comes after. You get that? Yeah. So that's how it does it. So one other so and then you asked about the sort, right? So you can actually uh this won't so I'll just, you see, I gave, so sort takes in some form of parameters, right? So you can leave it empty, or you can have your reverse. You can say how you want to sort your list, right? So by default, it sorts it in ascending order, right? But if you want the reverse order, you just give it that. Say reverse is equals to true, and then it'll give you the reverse order. But I didn't want to show you this one because we haven't looked at this kind of, we kind of have, but I haven't explained what it actually is to do this type of thing. And we haven't even talked about booleans as yet, but I guess it makes sense. I think it makes sense, maybe. Yes, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I was going to show you a different way to do it. So you have, because you sorted your list, right? And the default behavior is the default behavior is to sort it in ascending order. But let's say you wanted to sort it in descending order. So you know that your list is now sorted, right? When you get here. So you can, there's another method on there called reverse. So you can go reverse, and then it also, so you sorted it, you got your list in ascending order, and then after that you reverse your list, and then you get it that way. You see, so you have, first it's an ascending order from 4 to 50, and then you reverse the order, and then you go from 50 to 4. So that's how I was going to show you how to do that. But you can actually just do it off the bat with your sort. Yeah. So yeah, so we went, we looked at sort, we looked at reverse, we looked at popping, and then we looked at appending. Yeah, so yeah, I think I'm gonna ask a question, right? I actually asked this yesterday, but I'm just gonna ask it again. I'll also send through an exercise. I don't know, today or tomorrow morning. We'll see. So how would you index a nested list? How would you do that? And what do you understand by a nested list?
I think, didn't we do it yesterday?
Yeah, we did.
Isn't it like the one where you have a list inside of another list?
Yes.
So
So we
can
have
have
1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. So we have a list on the outer, and then we have another list there, right? So yeah, so yes, so now you understand what a nested list is. So how do you index a nested list?
How do we index or how do we sort?
How do you index a nested list?
yesterday when we did it, I think, for example, isn't it like number 4? Let's say 4 will be,
Okay,
let's say, for example, right, nested.
Yeah.
Then you put if you want, let's say we want 6.
Okay.
Then we would do 0, 1, 2, 3. We would do 4.
Okay.
We'll write 4, and then and then we'll do another square bracket and we put 1. Then it will give us 6.
Yeah.
What square?
Cool. I'm just gonna run that again. So yeah, so we get our 6 there. Oh yeah, I forgot to to show you yeah, I forgot to show you something. I'm just gonna have A. Oh, and then I'm gonna have B. So for B, I'm just gonna take those. You can actually do something like this: C equals to A plus B, and then what do you guys think C is going to be?
I think it's gonna be a list with 2 entries, both of which are lists. One of the lists will be 1, 2, 3, 4. The other list will be 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, Jack, what do you think?
Oh,
I think it will appear as like one list, starting from 1 to 8.
Yeah, so it's actually one list from 1 to 8. So for me, what I initially thought, like before the first time I saw this concept, I thought it would add the numbers at the same entries, like it would add 1 to 5 and 2 to 6, and that's what I thought. So so yeah, it just combines the two lists, the entries from both lists, and then it makes it one. Cool. Okay. I think we can move on to some dictionaries. Cool. Intro. Wait, so what do you guys remember from what I said before about dictionaries?
They look like a list, but the entries go in pairs. I don't remember what you call them, but I think it was a key and a value or something like that.
Yeah, so you have so I'm going to give you an example of when to use a dictionary. So I'm just going to use some names. So I'm going to call this prices, right? And then let's say we have a store, right? And then we're selling what are we selling? We're selling fruits, right? And then you have in your database, so we'll call this our prices database, so which we are going to represent as in the form of a dictionary. So you have your prices, you have your inventory. So your fruits would be, maybe have apples, right? So you have an apple, one apple being, maybe you have 199, right? So meaning this is your key and this is your value. So now in your prices database, you're saying, okay, I have an apple and the apple is 199, right? And then you can have your kiwi for 5 bob. I want you just do that. And then you can have your being student or what. So you have your prices in there in your database they're setting, but you can actually use these prices for, let's say we wanted, someone was buying at the shop, right? We actually we have our apples, and our apples have barcodes on them, right? So you want someone, when they scan the barcode on the apple, you have to be able to know what the price of that particular apple is, right? So let's say maybe we had another database, which is our barcodes, right? Our barcodes, and then you'd have so let's say you have barcode 00. Then I'm gonna call this barcode. I'll just go 0, right? Barcode 100 gives you apple, right? And then you have 101, and then you have 102, and then you have kiwi there, and you have your pin there. Does anyone have a question so far before I proceed with actually using them?
No, I'm fine.
Yeah. So in our prices dictionary, we have apple, kiwi, and pear being the keys, right? And then we have 199, 0.5, and 2.0 being the values, right? And in the case of barcodes, you'd have 100, 101, and 102 being the keys, and apple, kiwi, and pear being the values, right? So what we want to do in this case, we say, okay, we have an apple, right? And when we scan the apple, we only know the barcode. We actually don't know the price. But the scanner, when you scan the barcode on your apple, it goes to the database to say, okay, this is an apple, and then it takes the prices from the apple. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. But before we can be able to answer that question, let's see how we can get values from our dictionary. So if I wanted to know what the price of an apple is, right, here, I would have to go to the prices database, use some kind of, use this key in some way, and get the price. So how you do that is, so you have your prices there. Can someone guess on how if I wanted to know what the price of an apple is, what I would do? Just give it a guess. Someone, I'm gonna print out what you say. Yeah, anyone? I can give you a hint. It's similar to indexes in
lists.
In lists. Similar. It's not the same, but it's similar. So how would you do it?
Square brackets.
Yeah.
What are we looking for? Apples.
Yeah, the price for apple.
Apple.
Like that.
Now try 0. Square brackets will go with 0.
Let Cree finish. Let Cree finish.
In the quotation mark.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
So this one, you use the keys to nope. So yeah, so we get 199 there, right? So it's similar to that. So instead of using the numbers, we use the keys, right? So this is your key, right? So one thing you should remember about dictionaries don't have order to them, right? So so yeah, so the reason those indices worked for lists like your 0, 1, 2, 3 is because you have order to it, right? So you are able to say, okay, this is at this particular position, that is at that particular position, right? So but in let me show you something here. Print or like what you see. I'm going to print that out, right? Boom. So well, that doesn't actually prove anything, but anyway, whatever. There's no there's no order to your entries in your in your dictionary. So you access them using your keys. Cool. Now back to the question, right? So let's say we are scanning a barcode, right? So the scan. So we scan, and then I will say the barcode is. I'll say actually the barcode. I'll call it barcode singular. We have our database for barcodes. So we have our barcode, right? And then that's 100. That's what we have, right? Because we are scanning an apple, and what we read when we scan the apple, we read the barcode 100, right? How would you get the price for this barcode? How would you do it? I'll try print it out here. So I want to get the price that is that relates to this, that is referenced by this particular barcode. How would you do that? Nobody.
Okay, let's say type prices.
Prices. Yeah.
I'm gonna take a guess. Can you scroll
Square
up a bit?
bracket.
You want me to scroll up again?
Were you saying something?
Yeah, he says he wants to take a guess.
So print
Print what?
yeah,
It won't. What?
remember what happened. Try print.
Mhm.
Oh, actually, I'm lost.
Jack, let's hear you.
I was
Okay, let me ask you one question here, right? In our barcodes, right? What do our barcodes map to?
to the fruits, which is the keys for the other ones.
Yeah, so exactly. So you have your
What I was thinking is not making.
So your barcodes map to your products, right? So you have a barcode,
Yeah.
and the barcode gives you a product, right? And then your prices, in your prices, you have your product, which maps to a price, right? Sorry?
Okay, yeah, so continue it. Yeah. Let me see.
What did you say,
Let me
Chris?
try.
I heard Chris say something. So what did he say? Is he quiet now?
Okay, try that. Try
Yeah.
with the prices and then you do square brackets.
Yeah.
I think I was lagging.
And then you do, what is that? You do barcodes.
Barcodes, yeah.
Square brackets barcode.
Yeah.
Unless I'm going. Yeah.
That is it. Yeah. So you get 199 there. So let's break it down, right? I'm going to break it down into so that this makes sense. So if I say this is the product, right? And I'm breaking it down into steps so that so we're saying we have this barcode, right, given to us, right? We have that barcode given to us. Now we want the product that maps to that particular barcode. How do we get that product? We go to our barcodes. What happened there? Oh, did you just join back, Kri?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Did you see what Jack said?
Nah, I missed it. I was disconnected.
Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna take this back to what it was. So Jack had this, right? Just tell me if that makes sense to you. This is it here. Before I break it down. I'm gonna go ahead and break it down, right? So first, so we have this barcode that we have here, right? And we want to get the price that maps to that particular barcode. So for me to do that, first I need to get the product that maps to this barcode, right? So by me, I'm just gonna do that there. By me doing this, I'm saying, okay, give me, I have the barcode 100, and then I'm saying from my barcodes, give me the product that maps to this barcode. And then I'm gonna go barcodes and that barcode. So that will give me, that means now the value of my product is what? Is Apple. So I have Apple stored in there, right? Now I want the price of that product. So what do? I go to my prices database and then look for this particular product that I have here. And then here I print back that the price of that product. So doing that, I want to run that again. So I get my 199 there. So I had the barcode 100, found the product that maps to that barcode, and then found the price that maps to that product. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
I'm following. Continue.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how you would get the price that's how you get that price there. But there's safe methods and there's unsafe methods, and I'll show you why. So if I was to, so yeah, that's fine. That's fine. So there's safe methods to finding your keys in your the keys in your dictionary, right? So if I was to try something like, so I want to print it out actually. Print prices, right? Then prices, and then I wanted to. What do you guys think would happen here?
Error.
Yes, there's an error because it's saying no, this key is not here. So I don't have the key banana inside my prices. So error. That's what. So as you can see, if when we have errors in our program, that means something we're doing something that's unsafe, right? Unless sometimes it's intentional, which is fine. But in our case now, it was not intentional. We wanted to get the price for banana, but we couldn't, right? So how do we make sure that we get things safely from our dictionary in this case. So there is a way that we'll look at in the future when we start looking at how we handle our errors. When certain errors happen, we want some certain behavior. But now there's actually a method on the dictionary that we can use that does not throw an error. It's called the get method, right? So I can go get, and then here you do this and you give it the key. So you can give it a. So let's start off with Apple, right? So get, you saw that gave me 199. So you can actually, so like we were doing it this way, which is fine, but it's not safe if that key that you're trying to get is actually not there on your dictionary. But with the get method, if I was to go right, this one says none, so it's telling me okay, nothing was found with the key banana, right? So it's not telling me error. So as you can see now, it's actually safer to access the keys in your dictionary using the get method than just using the way we are doing it before with just our what we're using the key Apple with the square brackets. So this method is safer. But if you are sure that the key exists, then it's fine. You shouldn't worry about that. But when you're not sure what's in there, it's safer to use the get method than to use just the way we just saw earlier. And so one other thing, but we can also do something like, so I'll go prices and then go banana equals to, so I can do that, right? So now I am actually saying, okay, on the key, on the prices dictionary, for the key banana, add 5 land. And now my get method here returns a 5 because we added something there. So also I can, so what this one does here, so if the key is not there, right? If the key is not there within your dictionary, it adds it. But if it's there, it replaces. Like if I was to say, I'll just print so we can see what that looks like. So now you see, so I changed the value for banana. I added the value for banana because it wasn't there initially. So I have a 5 for banana there. But then I also, and then I changed the value for Apple because it was there initially. So it changed from 199 to being 5 land. See that? Yeah. So I think we can just pause there for today. We'll look at other methods on dictionaries tomorrow. Yeah. And then I actually think I should push this code up. Cool, that's the code. You should be able to pull the code from your side right about now. Yeah, cool. Are we good?
Yeah, I have a question.
What's up?
Can we go back a bit to that part that I missed? It was we're given a barcode value of 100,
Yeah.
and then so the part when I did was able to return, you showed me like it was multiple steps, but I think I saw a line before that that looked like one line to just say 100.
So yeah. So what we initially had, right, was this. So he just printed So it was prices, and then in there you have barcodes, and then in there you have barcode, right? This is what Jack had, right?
Okay.
I was saying to make it more to so that it's more readable and more understandable or easier to read, right? I was going to break it down into steps, into 3 steps. So I'm saying I have my barcode, right? And then I know that my barcodes dictionary has barcode maps to a product, right? So that means if I have a barcode and then I use that barcode that I have on my barcodes dictionary, that means in return I get what? I get a product, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I know that my prices is a product that maps to a price, right? So that means to get the price for that product, I go to my prices, right? And then use that product that I just got, and then should in turn give me what? Should give me a price. So that's why I was breaking it down there so that you can see the process of doing it. Because here, yes, it is that. It is the same result. But
Yeah,
sorry?
I was looking to understand the logic of that structure. So line 18 there says print the price, right? Print
Yes.
from prices
Yes.
the result of barcodes, the not the result of the respective value that matches barcodes that matches the key for barcode,
Yes.
right? So it says, so from prices, look for the key that matches the value within barcodes.
Yes.
And then the value within barcodes must be derived from the key which is given by barcode.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yebo. So I pushed the code up. Uh, so you guys should be able to let me actually let me because I just made a change. Can I just push this one up? Yeah. Yeah, so y'all can pull the code down on your machines.
How do
Just
we pull again?
you go inside the folder. So this folder that your Python crash course folder, you go inside that folder, and then you type git pull. If you're not inside that folder, you'll have problems. So you must make sure you are inside that Python crash course folder or on your VS Code inside the terminal. So I'm gonna stop presenting now, and then I'm gonna stop recording as well.